Tonight on BBC London, tributes are left at the park where a tree collapsed in Essex, killing a 7-year-old girl.
I've got children myself, and I think that it could have just been anyone's little one that day. You can see the tree from here, and it must have just been absolutely terrifying.
Also on the programme tonight, London bakes in the heat as health alerts are extended. And fans swelter in the queue for the hottest opening day in Wimbledon's history. Also tonight, the man who says he lost complete independence when the Met Police confiscated his wheelchair for 19 days. And
on a scorching hot and very dry day, we're at Hampton Court Palace Garden Festival to find how planting can help with biodiversity and to beat climate change.
Good evening and welcome to the programme. First tonight, hundreds of bunches of flowers and other tributes have been left in a park after a tree collapsed and killed a 7-year-old girl in Essex. A second girl, who's 6, remains in a critical condition in hospital after the incident on Saturday in Chalkwell Park in Southend-on-Sea. Jodie Harland reports.
A steady stream of people have been making their way to Chalkwell Park today, taking a moment to leave flowers and read messages for the family of the little girl who died here on Saturday.
I just wanted to come and pay my respects. I think I've got children myself, and I think that it could have just been anyone's little one that day. You can see the tree from here, and it must have just been absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine what people must have been going through at that time.
Been brought up here, born here. We've played under the tree, children have played under the tree, now our grandchildren play under the tree. So it's just heartbreaking. It could happen to anybody. Anyone could have been in that position. We just feel so sorry for the family.
The cedar tree sits close to the centre of the park. Nearby is a children's playground and a cricket pitch. On Saturday afternoon, witnesses described hearing a noise like a shotgun.
But the noise was the crack of a tree branch. A man who heard it described to me how he and dozens of others immediately rushed over to try and help lift it off of the children. He said it was a scene of horror, with members of the public doing their best to try to save the girl's life.
I thank the community. It shows the spirit of people here in Southend. You know, the cricket club came running over, people from the community arts hub here, Metal, they came running out, and people just in the park just enjoying their sunny day and having picnics and stuff. They came over to help as well, but it must have been deeply traumatising for those people.
This morning, flowers were laid by local dignitaries alongside emergency services workers. The leader of Southend Council, which owns Chalkwell Park, said the authority had started looking into what might have caused the tree to collapse.
There's a completely independent investigation into what's happened here. We need to let that run its course so we can understand what's happened here and take any lessons that there may be.
Will any other trees be looked at in the park? Will any other measures be taken?
We will take any measure that is necessary. We need to, first of all, find the outcome of the investigation and understand what needs to be done.
A senior Southend councillor told the BBC earlier today the tree had been propped up by supports for decades. Council workers have been on site since early this morning as the investigation into Saturday's incident gets started. An online fundraising page set up has already raised more than £26,000. Organisers say it'll be for the girl's family to use as they see fit when the time is right. Jodie Halford, BBC London, Southend.
Well, as we've been hearing, it's been one of the hottest June days ever today, with temperatures 10 degrees warmer than usual for this time of year. Amber health alerts have been extended until Wednesday morning, meaning the weather is likely to affect everyone, not just vulnerable people, and with travel disruption likely too. And it was the hottest day of Wimbledon in the championship's history. From there, Aisha Baksh reports.
The start of Wimbledon on one of the hottest days of the year so far. For anyone working outside, this heat can be challenging. But for Sam, it's worth it, just to be at this world-famous tennis tournament.
It's going very well, really, really warm. Lots of people, very happy. Really nice to obviously start the championships. It's the best 2 weeks of the year for me personally.
I've never been to an event like this, so I'm very excited.
I almost bought a straw hat, but then I bottled it, so we're going to hope it's going to be all right, but I've got the sunglasses on.
It would have been great to have got in to see Nadal and Federer in their prime, but no, looking forward to seeing Alcaraz and Taylor Fritz and everyone like that. It's a bit later on, so it'll be good. Yeah.
For many, the weather is a welcome opportunity to be outside and enjoy the sunshine. But for those who may be more vulnerable, the extreme heat comes with a health warning.
We're not saying don't go outside, we're not saying don't enjoy it, but some people will find it difficult, so make sure you're checking on those people, particularly the elderly, who we advise to stay out of the extreme heat and stay indoors, but that can be quite frustrating for them. So make sure they're okay, make sure you cover up, use sun cream, make sure you drink plenty of water, try and avoid alcohol in excess, because that will make you more dehydrated and cause you to be more at risk of getting heat exhaustion.
Despite sweltering temperatures and little shade, the All England Club welcomed thousands of people, but keeping cool and hydrated was very much the order of play.
Well, for players on court, there are heat protocols. When the temperature rises above 30 Celsius, they can take extra time out during play. But for fans on the hill here and inside, they have to find their own ways of keeping cool.
So we've got our own cool spray, we've got a fan, drinking lots of water. Luckily we're in court number 1, so we're on the shade. And a little bit of alcohol, that goes a long way.
We were sitting in the shade, we were quite lucky actually, but just drinking lots of water.
Drinking lots and lots of water.
Yes.
Hats. Fan. And just sitting here, we're in a breeze, so that's good.
And further high temperatures are expected here at Wimbledon and across the country.
Aisha Bucks reporting there. Well, as Aisha said in that report, it has been extremely hot in London today, and all this heat can be quite dangerous to our health, especially those who are more vulnerable. It can lead to conditions like heat stroke and dehydration, as well as making existing conditions like asthma much worse. Well, I'm very pleased to say I'm joined now by Dr. Sonia Adasara, who's a London-based GP. Thank you so much for coming in on what is indeed a very, very hot day. There'll probably be going to be people at home who are watching this and rolling their eyes, saying, I know what to do, I know to keep cool, I know to drink water, but actually this is something we have to take quite seriously, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I also love the hot weather, and I'm often telling my patients to get out and get vitamin D, but we also need to be aware of the risks from extreme heat. So in the past few years, we have been seeing the UK get hotter as a result of climate change. And as a result, we have been seeing more and more people get heat-related illness, but also sadly, people dying as a result of the heat. So in 2022, when we had these sort of really hot temperatures, we estimate about over 2,000 people lost their lives as a result of that heat. So it's really important that people can take steps to protect themselves and be careful in this weather. As you said, there are certain people who are more vulnerable to this heat.
Well, let's talk about sort of the young and old, because I think sometimes it can be quite difficult to see, can't it, when they present with dehydration or they are suffering with the heat. What should people look out for?
Absolutely. So people that are more vulnerable can be people who are less able to regulate their heat, particularly babies and young children, but also elderly people. And that what I always tell my patients, a key thing to look out for is the colour of your urine. So your urine should be clear or pale straw coloured. If you're finding that it's getting darker, so it's like a dark brown or an orange colour, then that means that you're not hydrated enough. And particularly with babies as well, monitor how many wet nappies they're having. So if they're having less wet nappies, then that means there's a risk of dehydration. But I'd say with everyone, it's really important that you keep cool and keep hydrated. That's like the key message here.
Can I just thought, how does sort of symptoms present? Because we can talk about sort of two different things, so heat stroke and heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
How do symptoms present in those things?
Yeah, so if you get heat exhaustion, you may get symptoms of feeling quite tired, fatigued, muscle weakness, you may be feeling quite nauseous, you may be feeling excessively thirsty, quite lethargic. And if you have any of those symptoms, you need to cool yourself down. So go into a cool place, remove any extra clothing. You can cool yourself down with cool drinks, wet flannel, and you should start to feel better within half an hour. Now, heat stroke is more serious. The symptoms of heat stroke can be being quite confused, disorientated. Your skin may be very hot to touch, but you're not sweating, and you may start fitting or having a seizure. Now, if anyone has symptoms of heat stroke, that's a medical emergency,
So
and
what should people do
you
in
need to
that
call
situation?
999. If you've got those symptoms, you need to call 999 because it's a medical emergency.
But on a daily basis, then it is a question of just making sure you keep hydrated. And does being in air conditioning help at all? Does that make a difference?
Yes, absolutely. So it's about keeping cool and keeping hydrated. The hottest times of day tend to be between 11 and 3 p.m. So avoiding heat in those times. Also avoiding things like exercise or exerting yourself during those times. But of course, there are certain places where, I can talk about our hospitals, for example, where they don't have aircon. So in those places, making sure we're trying to keep buildings as cool as possible, keep aerating those places, and really, really important, hydrate yourself. And I saw, your viewers at Wimbledon, if you're having alcohol, make sure you're alternating that with water or other fluids.
Great advice. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Lots more to come tonight, including...
Well, I can certainly vouch that it's refreshing and cool, especially in today's blistering heat. But some parents here in Walthamstow are now asking what's in this water and why is it staining their children's clothes? I'll have the answers later.
And on a hot, dry day in the capital, we're at Hampton Court Garden Festival looking at how planting can help with biodiversity and climate change. A wheelchair user says he felt ignored and marginalised after the Met Police confiscated his chair for nearly 3 weeks, claiming the electric motor attachment was illegal. Israel Vidal has now had it back, but disability charities want the law reviewed. Here's our reporter Tom Edwards.
Israel had to go 19 days without his wheelchair when it was confiscated by the Met. His offence, it had a detachable electric motor on the front to help him get around. He had fallen out of his chair and knocked himself out. He ended up in hospital. Without his chair, he was housebound.
It was horrible because I lost complete independence, I felt like I'd done really something wrong when all I'd done is fall down. I couldn't go to the toilet on my own, couldn't go out on my own. I lost independence,
Because each wheelchair is individually made?
Yeah, they're individually made, and it's not just that, it's my legs,
Israel is now having to use his hand cycle attachment, which is more difficult.
I felt like it was unjust, and I was very frustrating because it felt like they were going through process rather than using common sense. And they weren't talking to me. Police never talked to me at any point personally. I tried to contact them. They were vague on their emails, and it wasn't only until all the charities and MPs got involved that they responded.
He was given a replacement wheelchair in hospital, but it was unsuitable. He thinks the police should be using their discretion.
Well, I would like some kind of guideline so that all the people in wheelchairs don't suffer the same thing, or the blind people, or other people with disabilities, that they need the personal equipment to be kept with them unless there's a just cause.
Electric attachments for wheelchairs are popular but technically illegal without insurance. Charities are lobbying government to allow them. They think the police should also never confiscate wheelchairs.
Nobody should be confiscating anybody's wheelchair. It is as if they were confiscating their legs and basically put them under house arrest. So there is currently, bizarrely, no guidance to the police to say the police must not confiscate anybody's wheelchair. So that we would like established really quickly.
The Met says the wheelchair and attachment was seized due to safety concerns. It has apologised and says the wheelchair was held longer than anticipated. Israel, though, still feels frustrated by what happened and just wants to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Right, let's have a look at some of the day's other news stories now. And the Mayor has warned more than 50,000 basement properties in London are at increased risk of flooding because of climate change. The analysis from City Hall has found nearly half of London's hospitals, a quarter of its railway stations and 1 in 5 schools are also at higher risk. 5 primary schools in Westminster are to be merged into 2 after all the schools involved reported falling student numbers. Parents at both sets of schools had fought the proposals, with one consultation showing 83% disagreed with the mergers. Millwall have been fined £15,000 by the Football Association over homophobic chants by some fans aimed at a Crystal Palace player during their FA Cup match in March. However, the FA acknowledged the significant work undertaken by the club in fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment for the LGBTQ+ community. And the hot weather is causing delays for rail passengers travelling between London to Brighton. Network Rail have put speed restrictions and a revised timetable in place for today and tomorrow. The heat is leading to track temperatures of up to 50 degrees Celsius. Well, with the temperature so warm, it's tempting to head to anywhere with water. But parents in Walthamstow have complained that the splash fountains there are over-chlorinated, as children are finding their clothes bleached after playing in them. Following the concern, the council has asked the contractors to visit the sites for follow-up checks. Well, our reporter Thomas McGill is there for us this evening. Thomas.
Yes, fountains like this one here they're now popular all across London, and they are busy, I imagine, today, and a popular way to cool down. I even had a little quick dip in that one there earlier today, but parents have raised concerns about the 2 fountains that are operated here in Walthamstow by the council, after some people have complained online saying that after their children used this fountain, they got home and they discovered that their clothes were stained. And the parents are putting that down to high levels of chlorine in the water here. Now, one woman in particular we met earlier on today, Natalie, brought along some clothes for us to look at. You can see them now on the screen, and you can see a jumper or a little sleeveless top that is certainly got white patches on it, and there's a little pair of shorts as well that she said were black before her daughter played in this water, and you can see now they're stained red. And Natalie is certainly not alone. As I mentioned, lots of people have taken to social media complaining about the smell and the high levels of chlorine in this water. Now, I've been here all afternoon. I've watched kids play, I've watched adults play, and I also spoke to Robin, and she has got a very different view.
I've been in a swimming pool a bit, but maybe even a little bit stronger than that. I've seen some, I would say, unpleasant things. Children with poo in their nappies or their pants. I've seen some homeless people using it as a shower. So I would say that there is a bit of a concern, but I'd rather have chlorine on my clothes than people's, bodily fluids, I think. Yeah.
Now, it's fair to say there is a slight whiff of chlorine in the air, but it's by certainly no means overpowering here in Walthamstow in this square. And as you can see, it's not putting the kids off this evening, nor has it done so earlier on today as well. Now, we put the question to the council, what exactly is in the water? And they confirmed that the council does chlorinate the water to disinfect it and to keep it safe for users. Now, if you're looking for any further reassurances here tonight, if you're intending to use this particular fountain or the other one just down the road here in Walthamstow, the council confirmed that they have asked their contractors to do additional checks of both fountains to make sure, or to check the quality of the water, because they anticipate that both are going to be very busy over the next few days and as long as this heat wave continues. Back to you in the studio.
I bet they will be. Thomas, thank you very much indeed for that update there. Well, that is, of course, the main story today, the extreme heat. But how do you care for your plants or outside space in the hot weather? We sent Wendy Hurrell to the RHS Hampton Court Palace Garden Festival ahead of opening tomorrow to get some top tips and talk about how to create a drought-resistant garden.
Wilting people in today's fierce heat, but perky plants, because a lot of the landscaping has been designed to withstand these extremes. We've had a lot of hot, dry weather recently, but this is the perfect garden for it, isn't it?
That's right, because we have drought-resistant plants in our planting combination, like salvia, nepeta, verbena. It's one of the reasons that we are having problem with climate change nowadays. We have so much hard standing paved areas rather than soft landscape, planting areas. We try to use like permeable paving surveys because this is good for observing rainwater or any water like into the ground. So it helps like cooling the soil, which causes urban heat island effect. For example, if you don't use like permeable paving, that's why gravel is very good. Or you can have like some gaps between paving slabs. Again, that creates like permeability, which water can go in to the surface. So just like preventing runoff water, basically. This is very important.
In a pocket garden, bollards double as solitary bee hotels. Robin has a plan for all those scrubby patches of grass we pass every day down the middle of roads or outside your local shop. So this is a sort of garden you'd like to see everywhere?
We want to create a verge revolution. That's what we're trying to get. Everybody sees verges every day, actually, and there's a big, like in urban settings especially, there's a massive proportion of people who that is their only greenery they'll see all day. But we also want to create a massive habitat, and as you can see from the garden, it's like teeming with life.
Bees, butterflies, I can hear a cricket in there as well,
scratching
away.
We even had a toad. We even had a toad. It's mental. I don't know how it found us.
Capel Manor College has campuses across the capital where people can start a career in sustainability and the green economy. Their garden displays some of the courses on offer.
We've had the garden design students create the plan. We've had horticulture do the landscape gardening and all the frames and structures. We've got the floristry that have created the amazing 3D urns that have been all sustainable. So they're all in the glass vessels with the water. And we've also got our fabric printing, which is part of our art and design curriculum, using eco-printed techniques, which have all come from our gardens at the college.
I'll tie sort of to the top if you can.
Our courses range from very young learners right through to adult learners, and all of our areas are about sort of industry pathways. So we're offering have-a-go activities to people to come onto the stand throughout the whole week. We've got today floral bracelets, we've got the decoupage bookmarks a bit later today, and then throughout the week we'll have seed sowing, and we've also got various different subject specialist industry talks as well.
So this year's Hampton Court Palace Garden Festival appears to be addressing concerns about our changing climate. Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
Well, with that, let's get a check on the weather with Corsa, who's at a very sunny looking Wimbledon. Corsa, it looks gorgeous. Over to you.
Thanks, Victoria. Yes, indeed. It is beautiful out here. Lots of sunshine indeed. Behind me, court number 18, and in the far distance, it's court number 1 as well. Now, today, it was actually the hottest opening day on record for Wimbledon. We reached above 33 Celsius, easily beating the last record for opening day at 29.3 Celsius in 2001. And we are, of course, in heat wave conditions as well. Today is the 4th consecutive day we're above 28 Celsius. And tomorrow, it looks like this heat wave is set to continue as well for the time being. So certainly some hot weather to come before a change is on its way in the coming days. So let's take a look at the forecast then for more details. And for the rest of this evening, well, late spells of sunshine, clear skies overnight, hardly a cloud in the sky with those clear skies and light winds as well. And tonight is what we will call a tropical night, as temperatures in most spots will stay at the high teens, even the low 20s, around 21 Celsius as the minimum temperature for central London. So certainly a difficult night for sleeping in. And it does mean a warm, muggy start to the day tomorrow. And we are expecting plenty in the way of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow as well. Very high UV, very high pollen levels once again. There may just be a few patches of cloud, light winds, and tomorrow has the potential to be even hotter. We could reach maybe 33, possibly 34 Celsius, well above average for the time of year, and continuing with those those heatwave conditions. For tomorrow evening as well, late spells of sunshine, clear spells to start the night, but overnight tomorrow night, we're expecting some thicker cloud and maybe some showers by the early hours. Now, tomorrow night is still quite muggy, so temperatures still holding up in the high teens to the low 20s. But for Wednesday, we're expecting more in the way of cloud. We have a weather front approaching from the west, and this is going to bring some showers for a time, most likely in the morning. It may even bring 1 or 2 showers for Wimbledon Wednesday morning, but it does become drier and brighter later on in the day. So for Wednesday, temperatures will be much fresher. So we're back down to around the low 20s, still above average for the time of year, but certainly less hot than it has been today and will be tomorrow. So then, as a reminder, tomorrow's still hot, it's still dry, plenty of sunshine around, very high UV, very high pollen levels, but a change on its way for Wednesday to fresher conditions, some showers around in the morning, and then we're expecting sunshine later in the day, but it will be fresher, temperatures only reaching the low 20s, and similar conditions for the next few days after that. And that's your forecast, Victoria.
Welcome news for many. Corsa, thanks very much for that. Now, just before we go, you may remember last week we showed you the viral video of Melanie Chiruma. Melanie is the NHS nurse who was surprised with a retirement party at Croydon University Hospital after 27 years at the NHS across London. Melanie's video caught the attention of people online who shared the video of her having a lovely time with colleagues and family. Well, some relatives had flown in from Zurich in Switzerland specifically for it. Today, Melanie and her son Keith came into BBC Radio London and talked to Aaron Paul and told him just what it was like.
It was just amazing, just even being at the retirement and just seeing how everybody embraced her, how just happy they were, how they just celebrated her. Like, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't think anything of it. Yeah. You know, I used to go see moms in their wards and they're all, Sister Mel's like your son. I just didn't think anything of it. So proud. I'm so proud and so happy that she can relax now, you know. It's been so long. These years has been so long. So just really happy.
And in terms of the party, tell us about it. 50 people turning up to come and see you off. I mean, what a blessing.
I felt a sense of pride because when I was looking through the room, I could see that almost everyone who was there, they passed through my program.
It was amazing. It was just amazing. You could just see the unity in that room, and it was just your mother being celebrated. I mean, what as a son, like, you know, it's your mother, you know, like just her being celebrated. People calling her the legend. I didn't know my mum was being called the legend. So it was lovely, man. It was really, really nice.
What a fabulous story. Right, just one main headline to tell you about this evening. 2 artists who performed at Glastonbury are under criminal investigation. The punk group Bob Villain for the chants they led, and a performance by the rap trio Kneecap. But that's about it from me. Do head to our website for a lot more stories, including the Labrador-sized dinosaur that's made its home at the Natural History Museum. I'll be here later with our 10:30 programme, but for now, from all of us here, whatever you're doing, we do hope you have a lovely and cool evening. Bye-bye.